My husband forgot our anniversary but remembered his coworker's birthday. He left me at home with our sick baby and went to a team dinner at a steakhouse I was banned from affording. I drove there, baby in tow, just to see for myself. He was feeding her dessert with his fingers. I walked over, placed the baby in his lap, and said, "You forgot your family." Then I walked out. The waitress ran after me crying. "You deserve better," she said. A month later, he showed up to court in tears when I took sole custody and his mistress had already left him. I don't even know where to start because it still feels like it wasn't real. But it was. Every gut punch of it. I'm Ellie, 34 years old, living in the outskirts of Columbus, Ohio. Married, or I guess was married to Travis. He's 36. Slick. Good talker. Always busy. Always working. We weren't always broken. There was a time I actually believed he loved me. Back when we first met, he was just a small-time real estate agent hustling at open houses, driving a beat-up old sedan, wearing Walmart dress shirts. I used to love how hard he worked. We didn't have much. We didn't need much. Frozen pizzas, movies on the couch, little road trips to nowhere. We were a team. Then his business took off. Money started coming in fast. And like a switch flipped, I wasn't enough anymore. The nice clothes came first. Then the new truck. Then the dinners with clients. He started working late, traveling to conferences. And me? I stayed home with our baby girl, Sophie, who barely turned 1. I told myself it was a phase. That we were just adjusting to success. That all marriages hit rough patches. God, I was stupid. Our 5th wedding anniversary was coming up. I thought for sure, despite everything, he'd remember. I didn't expect a big trip or jewelry or anything fancy. I just wanted a little time. Maybe dinner at Applebee's or even just a card. Something that said, "I see you. I love you." I got up early that morning, made his favorite coffee, black, 2 sugars, splash of cream, and packed his lunch with a handwritten note. "Happy 5 years, babe. Through everything, I still choose you. Love, Ellie." He grabbed the lunch off the counter without even looking at me. No smile. No hug. Not a damn word. I stood there holding Sophie in my arms, feeling like a ghost. The day dragged on. Sophie was cranky, feverish. She wouldn't let me put her down. I didn't have time to shower, eat, or even pee without her crying. All day, I kept checking my phone. Nothing. At 4:17 p.m., a text finally came through, "Working late. Team dinner. Don't wait up." My hands shook when I read it. I kept staring at the screen, hoping another text would follow. Something like, "Just kidding. Meet me at our spot." Or "Happy anniversary, love." But no. Just radio silence. I sat on the couch with Sophie burning up against my chest, staring at the blank TV screen, feeling my heart break in slow motion. At 7:30 p.m., I opened Instagram. Not to snoop. Just to numb the pain. That's when I saw her story. Maya. Cute little brunette from his office. 26. Always posting selfies at work events. Always tagging Travis. She posted a boomerang video, a big table at Prime Steakhouse. Champagne glasses clinking. And right there, front and center, a giant dessert platter with "Happy Birthday, Maya," written in chocolate sauce. But that's not what made me freeze. It was the hand in the frame, holding a fork up to her mouth. I knew that hand. I bought the damn watch on it. Travis. He wasn't at a team dinner. He was at her birthday dinner. At the steakhouse he told me we couldn't afford for my birthday last year. My chest tightened. I could barely breathe. I sat there, shaking, holding my sick baby, realizing my marriage wasn't just broken. It was dead. Something inside me snapped. I didn't think. I acted. I threw on jeans and a hoodie, buckled Sophie into her car seat with trembling hands, wiped my face with the sleeve of my sweatshirt. It was raining hard. Wipers beating against the windshield as I drove downtown, headlights blurry through the tears. When I pulled up to the steakhouse, I didn't even bother with the valet. I left my car running in the fire lane, hazard lights blinking. I yanked Sophie's carrier out of the back seat, threw a blanket over her to keep her dry, and stormed inside. The hostess stepped in front of me. "Excuse me, ma'am. Do you have a reservation?" I didn't even slow down. I shoved past her, ignoring the people turning to stare. And there he was. Big round table. Travis laughing, tossing his head back like he didn't have a care in the world. Sitting right next to Maya. Her hand resting on his thigh like it belonged there. Him feeding her a bite of cake with his fingers. For a second, I thought I might throw up. But I didn't. I walked right up to the table, all eyes on me. The entire room went silent. Travis looked up. Saw me. His smile died instantly. Maya's hand jerked back like she touched a hot stove. Without saying a word, I set Sophie's carrier on the table right in front of him. Sophie stirred, whimpering. She reached out toward him, little fingers grasping. I looked Travis dead in the eye and said, loud and clear, "You forgot your family." Dead silence. He opened his mouth to speak, but nothing came out. I turned and walked away. The hostess was frozen at her stand. A valet boy dropped his set of keys on the floor. I made it halfway to the car before someone grabbed my arm. I spun around, ready to fight, but it wasn't Travis. It was a young waitress, tears streaming down her face. "You deserve better," she sobbed. "I'm so sorry. I've seen him come in here with her before. It's not the first time." My heart shattered again, but all I did was nod. I got in my car, strapped Sophie back in, drove home in the pouring rain. Didn't look back. The next morning, I called a lawyer. No discussions. No marriage counseling. No long dramatic fights. He made his choice. I filed for divorce. Filed for sole custody. I took screenshots of everything. Maya's Instagram story. The receipt from the steakhouse that showed up in our shared credit card account. The texts he sent lying about working late. He tried to call. Tried to text. He showed up at the house once, banging on the door, yelling that he needed to explain. I didn't even open it. I put the deadbolt on and sang lullabies to Sophie while he screamed outside like a crazy person. A month later, we stood in court. He looked like hell, hollow cheeks, bloodshot eyes, wearing a suit that didn't fit right. When the judge granted me full custody and the house, he broke down sobbing. Tried to run after me in the hallway, blubbering, "Please, Ellie, please. I made a mistake. Please don't do this to me." I didn't even flinch. He did it to himself. And Maya? She dumped him 2 weeks after that night at the steakhouse. Apparently, dating a broke, divorced man with no home, no custody, and a destroyed career wasn't as sexy as she thought. Travis lost everything. And I found peace. But that's not the end. Not even close. After the court date, I thought things would get quiet. I was wrong. At first, Travis disappeared. I heard from mutual friends that he moved into a cheap extended stay motel on the other side of town. Word spread fast in our little suburb. The perfect realtor who used to show off million-dollar houses was now the guy sneaking into the 7-Eleven at 2 a.m. to buy gas station sandwiches. I should have felt sorry for him. But I didn't. Not after what he did. About 2 weeks after the hearing, he started texting again. Long paragraphs. Walls of begging. "Please, Ellie. Please let me see Sophie. I miss her so much. I'll do anything. I'll fix this. I'll go to counseling. Please just let me come home." I ignored every single one. Then the tone shifted. He started blaming me. "You're heartless. You destroyed our family. I only went to dinner because the office forced me. You embarrassed me in front of everyone. You're turning Sophie against me." It was like watching someone drown, reaching out and trying to pull everyone else under with them. I blocked his number. That's when things got uglier. One night, around 11 p.m., I heard a noise outside. I peeked through the blinds. Travis's truck was parked crooked across my driveway. He was standing there, soaked in rain, banging on the front door with his fist. Sophie was asleep upstairs. I grabbed my phone and called the cops without hesitating. I didn't care that it was harsh. I didn't care that he looked pathetic. I wasn't going to let my baby grow up thinking it was normal for men to act like this. When the police came, Travis tried to act calm. I just wanted to talk to my wife, officer. That's my house too. The officer, a tired-looking older guy who had probably seen 1,000 of these situations, just shook his head. Not anymore, man. You need to leave. You come back, you'll be arrested. They let him drive away. I stood at the door watching his taillights disappear, feeling nothing. A few days later, my friend Sarah called. Ellie, I don't know if you want to hear this, but you need to. Turns out Travis was posting about me on Facebook. Publicly. Calling me spiteful. Saying I ripped his daughter away. Painting himself like the poor, heartbroken victim. And people were eating it up. Old neighbors. His coworkers. Even some distant relatives. All chiming in with praying for you, bro, and stay strong, king. Meanwhile, I was the one up at 3 a.m. with a sick baby and an empty fridge because the child support hadn't kicked in yet. I wanted to scream. Instead, I got smarter. I printed everything. Screenshots of his posts. Photos of him feeding Maya cake. Receipts from his credit cards. Even witness statements from 2 waitresses who saw him with Maya multiple times. I brought it all to my lawyer. She nodded grimly and said, "We're going to destroy him in the next hearing." Because guess what? Travis had filed a motion trying to get joint custody. Yeah, the man who forgot our anniversary, fed another woman birthday cake, left his sick baby at home, and harassed me at midnight, wanted to play Dad of the Year. The day of the next court hearing, I saw him waiting in the hallway. He looked worse than before. Dark circles, slumped shoulders, stains on his tie. When he saw me walk in holding Sophie, he actually smiled. Like he thought we were all just gonna hug it out. I didn't smile back. Inside the courtroom, it got ugly fast. His lawyer tried to paint me as unstable and emotional. Said I alienated Travis from Sophie. Then it was my turn. I sat there and calmly, clearly, laid out everything. Every dinner. Every lie. Every time he chose someone else over his own daughter. When my lawyer handed over the printouts, you could see the judge's face tighten. When I played a recording of Travis screaming outside my house that night, the judge's mouth turned into a thin line. When it was all over, the judge didn't even hesitate. Full custody. Supervised visits only. Mandatory therapy for Travis if he ever wanted the possibility of unsupervised time again. And a hefty chunk of his paycheck going to child support. Outside the courtroom, Travis slumped onto a bench, head in his hands. I strapped Sophie into her stroller and walked past him without a word. He called out weakly, "Ellie, please. I have nothing left." I paused, turned around, and for the first time, I spoke directly to him without anger. Without hate. Just truth. "You threw it all away." Then I pushed the stroller toward the elevators and never looked back. But like I said before, that wasn't the end. Not yet. There was still more damage to come. Because karma wasn't done with Travis. And neither was I. After the court decision, I figured Travis would finally disappear for good. He didn't. Instead, he found new ways to spiral. It started small, passive-aggressive posts on social media, vague pity-party captions like, "Some people will ruin your life," and then act like they're the victim. He was careful not to name me directly. But anyone with a brain could read between the lines. I didn't even bother answering. Let him cry to his little Facebook crowd. I was busy keeping our daughter safe. But it wasn't just online. 2 weeks after the court hearing, I got a letter in the mail. From Travis's old job. Apparently, someone had sent anonymous emails to his brokerage firm, including all the proof of his extracurricular activities, the dinners, the nights out with Maya, the harassing messages, even the police report from when he banged on my door. In real estate, reputation is everything. Nobody wants to buy a house from a man who can't even keep his own life together. He was quietly fired. I found out because his name was suddenly missing from the brokerage website. A neighbor told me she heard he was driving for DoorDash now, delivering takeout in that big fancy truck he couldn't afford anymore. I didn't gloat. Not out loud. But inside? Yeah. I smiled a little. Then came the real kicker. One night, Sarah called me again, practically bursting through the phone. "Ellie, you need to check the local community page right now." I logged onto Facebook and saw it. Someone had posted a screenshot of a Tinder profile. And there he was. Travis. Using old photos from his successful realtor days. Bio said, "Single dad. Loves steak dinners and real connections. Not looking for drama." Comments under the post were brutal. "Isn't this the guy who cheated on his wife with some coworker? He owes my cousin child support. This man delivered my pizza last week and forgot the soda. He was a joke now. Not the golden boy. Not the smooth talker. Just another small-town mess everyone gossiped about." And as for Maya? She moved out of town. Got a new job in Chicago. Left Travis without so much as a goodbye. Turns out, once he lost the big money, the big truck, and the big future, he wasn't so shiny anymore. He even tried to call her from different numbers, begging her to come back. She blocked him on everything, the same way I had. But here's the real twist. About a month later, I got a knock at the door. It was his mother. Now, let me say this, I was never close with Travis's family. They always treated me like the boring housewife who held him back. But now, standing on my porch, his mom looked small, wrinkled, beaten down by shame. She held out a box. "These are some of your things from the old house," she said, voice shaking. "And, Ellie, I just want to say, I'm sorry. We should have seen what he was becoming." I didn't know what to say. I just nodded and took the box. Inside were things I thought I'd lost. My wedding shoes. A baby blanket I made for Sophie. A framed photo from our honeymoon, a time when I actually believed the man in the picture loved me. I sat on the floor, Sophie crawling around beside me, going through that box for hours. It felt like digging through the grave of a life that never really existed. And Travis? He kept trying to crawl back. Sending emails I didn't answer. Leaving voicemails I didn't listen to. Dropping off cheap toys on the porch that I threw straight into the trash. He even tried to show up at Sophie's daycare once. The director called me immediately. He wasn't allowed to pick her up. Wasn't even allowed to be near the building without written permission. They threatened to call the police if he came back. I sat in my car afterward, holding Sophie tight, feeling that old rage bubble up again. How dare he? How dare he hurt her too? That night, I made a decision. This wasn't just about getting away from him anymore. It was about making sure he never got the chance to hurt Sophie or me again. I opened a new document on my laptop, started writing everything down. Every broken promise. Every lie. Every time he chose another woman, another drink, another easy way out over his own family. I was building a case. Because soon, I wasn't just going to have sole custody. I was going to have something even better. Something permanent. I spent the next month building everything. Timeline. Photos. Texts. Emails. Witness statements. Court records. Screenshots of his desperate Tinder profile begging for attention. I wanted it airtight. No loopholes. No second chances. Because the next move wasn't about divorce anymore. It was about protection. Real protection. I filed for a restraining order. Not just for me, for Sophie too. My lawyer said it would be tough, but once she saw the evidence, she said, "Ellie, you're going to win this." And we did. Travis didn't even show up to the hearing. Probably too drunk. Or too ashamed. Or both. The judge signed it without blinking. 2 years. No contact. No visits. No dropping off toys. No standing outside my house in the rain pretending to be the victim. 2 years of peace. And after that, I could reapply to extend it. When I got home that night, I sat on the couch with Sophie on my lap and finally let myself breathe. Really breathe. No more looking over my shoulder. No more worrying if he was lurking in the shadows. No more stupid hope that he'd somehow become the man he promised to be. It was done. Travis was out of our lives for good. But life wasn't finished teaching lessons yet. About 3 months after the restraining order, I heard from a former coworker of his. She texted me late one night. "Ellie, you won't believe this. Travis got arrested. Apparently, he got caught breaking into another ex-girlfriend's apartment. Drunk. Hi. Rambling about second chances and starting over. She called the cops, thank God. He spent the night in jail. Got slapped with breaking and entering charges. Violation of restraining order. Hers, not mine. Guess he moved on fast. Substance abuse charges too. It all made the local news. Tiny story. Buried under car crashes and city council meetings. But there it was, former real estate agent arrested on multiple charges. Name. Mugshot. Everything. I stared at that little article for a long time. Not smiling. Not laughing. Not dancing around the living room like you'd think. Just tired. Because revenge doesn't really feel like fireworks and applause. It feels like walking out of a burning house, with ashes in your hair and scars on your skin, but knowing you're finally free. I made mistakes too. I stayed too long. I believed too many lies. I let myself become invisible. But the biggest difference between me and Travis was simple. I learned. He didn't. Now, every morning, I wake up to Sophie's giggles instead of Travis's excuses. I make my own coffee, pack my own lunches, take her to the park and laugh without looking over my shoulder. We're building a new life, day by day. And if someday Sophie asks what happened to her dad, I'll tell her the truth. Not the dirty details, not the ugly bitterness. Just the truth. He forgot who his family was. And we didn't wait around to be remembered.